I committed a fallacy. At least I kinda did in my last video. And I think I might have in text. Feel bad about it. But in my defense, it is a new fallacy and might not really be an actual fallacy, but maybe it's worth considering. The Michael Jordan fallacy. What? You say Michael Jordan has his own fallacy? What the bleep is that? The Michael Jordan fallacy is essentially a statement not necessarily about Michael Jordan, but, well, imagine if Michael Jordan took his talents or money or whatever and just gave it all to charity. Wouldn't that be great? What if he used his talents to help people somehow or whatever? What if your doctor really cared about humanity, they should sell everything they have and, you know, give it to the poor and go help people in Africa. By the way, people do that, just not very often, and we don't hear about them. They're not well known, they're not famous. I think they should be, that'd be nice, but maybe that too is the Michael Jordan fallacy. See, Bill Gates, if he wasn't Bill Gates, if he didn't start Microsoft and get all this money, there wouldn't be a Bill Gates Foundation. If he joined the Peace Corps, we might have never heard of Bill Gates. And so that thing wouldn't exist. There is a Michael Jordan charity. That wouldn't exist without him. So, what about big-time YouTubers and stuff like this where, yeah, you might feel jealous. Oh, man, if I only had more reviews like them and stuff. And I felt that. But then, looking at this fallacy, I go, oh, yeah, that's just a feeling. And really, it's not something I should feel because of this fallacy. Here's why. We need the big-time YouTubers out there to get and bring in the views, not just to them, but slowly to the rest of us. Sort of a trickle-down system of some sort that actually does function. In fact, I think one of my friends, if not more than one, have said, oh, I found you through big name here, I saw you know, or whatever. And it's like, well, how did you find me through them? Well, I found this person after that person, and then that person, and then I found you. Oh, okay. So if it hadn't been for this chain of people, I wouldn't have been known by you, and you wouldn't have been known by me. So that big time YouTuber, that Creationist Cat, that fill in the blank here of big time YouTuber. I can pick on Creationist Cat because he's never going to respond to anything I say, so whatever. Creationist Cat sucks. Okay, sorry. Because he's a creationist and he's a cat, so whatever. We need that out there. Just like we need the Michael Jordans of the world and the Bill Gates of the world. We need the people doing those things in order to get other people or have other people that don't do those things. Fame and fortune is one thing. It's one facet of humanity, and perhaps our fascination with both is bad in some way, or could be seen as negative. You know, perhaps capitalism in and of itself is bad. The acquisition of goods should not be our driving force, but that sounds really socialist, which is also sometimes bad. Like, no matter what you do, it can be bad. So, regardless, the fallacy is essentially saying, well, if that person did this thing instead, then this result that I want would be true. So it's sort of a special knowledge claim, sort of an appeal to consequence tied up together in one simply named fallacy. So rather than say, well, that's special knowledge, that's special, blah, 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 there's a lot of things I have to say, which I could say, or I could just say it's the Michael Jordan fallacy and save some time. So for that reason, I think that this is a legitimate, or it could be, or should be, a legitimate fallacy, but that's just my humble view as an amateur logician. But it is appeared in some printed books, like one that I know of, so maybe it's a thing. Maybe it could be a thing. I don't know. But wait a minute. This fallacy didn't exist until recently. Has it always existed? The Michael Jordan fallacy? But Michael Jordan hasn't always existed. So, it's a new fallacy. How did that happen? We just made it up. And if we all agree that the Michael Jordan fallacy is indeed a legitimate fallacy, then it is a legitimate fallacy if we all agree. Or if enough of us agree. If it gets printed enough and gets spread around enough, it becomes a legitimate fallacy. Because it follows the format of informal logic. It has within it fallacies, and it has within it statements about reality that one wishes weren't true. That your appeal to emotion and your special knowledge and or your appeal to consequence is all kind of wrapped up within this statement that you're making. Just think, if Michael Jordan had only done X, then Y would be different. Or as I sometimes put it, if things were different, things would be different. Just think, if only that person with all these views, educated people, that would be far better than what they're doing. Well, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't have those many views. In fact, there are a number of educational channels on YouTube with a lot of views. But there's also some that have next to none, that we're barely aware of. And it's only through this network of big people and little medium-sized people and littler people that we're going to find out about that channel that is of interest to us. So we need those big people to keep doing what they're doing. And instead of feeling jealous about it, which we could feel, but that doesn't do anything except make me irritated. You know, it doesn't hurt anyone but yourself. Your feelings don't reach that person. They don't feel what you feel. Which is why being angry at someone logically doesn't make sense. It's like, it's like, what good does that do? Okay, it's your own. You're not hurting them with that feeling. You know that, right? So the idea here is to let go of your anger, or in this case, let go of your jealousy or whatever, and just get over it. You know, just get on with your life, get on with your day. Which is nice to say, and we know that it's a logical fallacy. But emotions tend to kind of ruin the whole thing. So, the Michael Jordan fallacy in and of itself is at least 3, if not more, fallacies kind of combined into one. And by saying, oh, that's the Michael Jordan fallacy, we can identify, oh, you know what? That last video I did might have been hinting at being a Michael Jordan fallacy, and maybe in text format, I did commit the Michael Jordan fallacy. Is it annoying when this famous YouTuber does this thing and says this thing? Maybe. Should they not do that? That's getting closer to the Michael Jordan fallacy. Can we talk about them and say, well, you know, this is what's wrong? Oh, absolutely. But when do we cross the line from analysis to the Michael Jordan fallacy? That requires critical thinking on our part and on my part, and I don't mind being pointed out when I might have committed a fallacy or two, because I will then strive to correct that in the future. I might not, because I'm human and I forget and I make mistakes, but ideally that is my goal, is to free myself of all fallacies. So I hope by teaching and educating you on the Michael Jordan fallacy, I have done something that you didn't have before. And if not, imagine if I had just done something different instead. Until next time, remember, unless and until we have a logically coherent argument, blah blah blah, I think Michael Jordan played golf.